Janome.
Hi everyone, I'm Ann Hine, Embroidery Software Specialist for Janome America, and today I'm going to talk to you about AcuSpark2. AcuSpark2 is an app for both Android and iPad. You can find it in your App Store or even in your Play Store. So when you open the AcuSpark2, it's designed to work with our new 9480 and the M8 off our QR code that you'll see on the screen, and I'm going to show you some of that as we go along. When you open your app, you'll have information on the left-hand side, and then there'll also be tabs along the bottom with more information as you work through different areas. When you first open your app, if you wanted to go into video download or info, you can download all the embedded videos into the program. Then you'll always have access to them even when you're offline. So the app is set up similar to having a manual right at your fingertips. So let's just get started. We'll jump right in. And on the left-hand side, the first area you're going to come to is your stitch chart information. And the first one that pops up, of course, are your buttonhole and your utility stitches. And then across the bottom, you'll find decorative, your monogramming designs, which is your lettering, and then your specialty stitches over here. So if you see something on here you want to know about, you can touch it. It'll open up, it'll show you the stitch, it explains it a bit. It will show you the foot that you're going to use and a high resolution picture of it. It says it's overcasting, and anytime there's these green boxes, you can touch those and it expands and gives you more information about that stitch. And as you go through here, it'll explain how to use that overedge stitch, how to cut off the extra fabric, so when using overedge, it'll look just like a serged seam when you get done. Let's pop back over here. One more back. And then if we went under decorative, you'll find your decorative groupings here. Again, you can just select one of these, shows you all those stitches. You can zoom in really large to see them, which I love that, so I can see my stitches up close and personal. And then when I see one I want, I can open it up, shows me the foot I'm going to use with it, and then I would know what to attach to my machine when I'm going to use that stitch. Going back, it has specialty stitches, so it shows our new Mirage stitches in here. Here are your choices for your Mirage stitches, and there's also in that area were the tapering stitches as well. So you could open up a tapering stitch and see what that looks like. Let's go back to that original menu, to go back a couple of times. So this ordinary sewing is going to go over the stitch charts, which we did. Sewing preparation, so you'll have more dialog boxes on how to do certain things. Setting the bobbin thread, it shows you how to put your bobbin in the bobbin area. There's a little video here you could watch. There's a couple of videos, and these are the videos I was talking about. So when you're online, you'll have them. If you download them at the beginning, then they'll always be within your program. So you can play those at any time, and it shows you how to take your bobbin cover off, and then how to put your bobbin in there itself, which way the thread is going to come off. Put your finger on that as you pull it through. Make sure you're getting it in those areas, around to 1 and 2, and there you go. So it's very interactive, almost easier than having a manual at your fingertips. So you'll have all these different areas to look at in there. Then again, across the bottom under the same topic, you have applications under here. It talks about pulling up the bobbin thread, how to use your cloth guide. That's what your cloth guide looks like, how to attach it, and all that information is right here at your fingertips. Moving down our list, if we go to machine functions, this area I find very handy because it talks about your different keys and what they are. And there's videos with certain ones, so you can see what all these icons are that you'll find on your machine over here, explains them over here. So it's easier to understand what's going on, what things you need to touch and when. Let's go back here. So those are your machine functions, and under the dialog. If you're moving down here, well, let's go back to this one here, operating buttons. So here's some of the operating buttons. So if you want what your needle up, needle down button looks like, the thread cutter button, and so forth. So if you didn't know what those were, or you saw it on the screen, you could find it over here as well. Manual stitch settings. So this will show you how you move your needle position. You can do it with the plus and the minus over on this side, or it shows you on your machine using these dials on the front, which ones to use for your width and which ones to use for your length. And you'll have those down here, how to set your tension, all of that. And then it shows you here where those things would be on your screen. We'll go back to that main menu again. And there's an overview. When you get to your overview, again, you have your utility, your decorative, and your special area at the bottom. And then you have all these different areas. If you want to look at button shank sewing, it shows you how your button sewing on foot works. You can actually touch those little green parts here, and it takes you to show you how to lower your feed dogs, things like that. So lots of information at your fingertips through the whole thing. All right, so let's take a look at sewing applications. The first thing under sewing applications will be all those areas when we're on our machine that we find them in the same place on our machine. So these are the basic sewing ones. Across the bottom, you'll find the categories for quilting and the feet optional ones. So when you open up any of these, just like on your machine, you're going to open up one of these areas, and it will go over all the steps that are under your sewing applications. This is the pouch zipper. So it talks about sewing the right side of the zipper and then the left side of the zipper, how to top stitch it, and then the other part of the top stitching. So it walks you through all those areas. So anytime you open up these, you'll find that same information on your machine. When you go under the quilting section, you'll see those quilt options. Maybe we're going to do ruler work, so you want to find out a little bit more about ruler work. And they have the two different ruler work areas, the medium and the light, and it talks a bit about that. And of course, you can pick up any of these other areas. Let's look at free motion. So you have your different free motion choices here as you go down, and it shows you the foot, explains it right in through here. You have all of that. There is an area for the ASR, and we will talk about that in a moment. Then you can move under your foot options, and then here you'll see all the different feet options. Maybe you're going to be doing piping, so you open up piping. It shows you the piping foot, how to attach cord, how to make piping cord. A little bit of information for you. So very informative as you work through the different categories. Let's pop back. Sewing preparation. So it'll talk about removing your presser foot, setting the needle thread for one needle for twin needle. So you can open this up if you wanted to twin needle sewing. I hear this all the time. Everybody would like to twin needle sew, but they're not exactly sure how to set their thread. There's a couple of videos in here you can watch as well. Using the built-in threader. If you don't know how to use your needle threader, there's a little video here on how to do it. It talks about using your needle down, needle up button first, locking your machine, and so forth. So you can learn about all the information and then how to use it, not to use the threader, but how to thread your needles for twin needle. Let's go back. You'll find the same basic information and then application information down here. Some of these, especially right here, you might be looking for this, replacing the presser foot ASR. So when you're ready to use your accurate stitch regulator, it shows you how to go about changing your foot, how to put the ASR on, where to plug it in the back, how to change the foot at the bottom. All of that information is in here. So if we move to another area under sewing applications, machine functions, it'll talk about, let's look at the main area. Again, it's showing you those different icons and what they mean, so you can understand when you see those on the screen of your machine. Let's go back. Manual stitch settings covers those again under specialty. You can come in here. Let's look at for free motion ruler work. It talks about how to change the height of that foot. So if you didn't know how to do that, floating mode is new. So you'll find information here on how to adjust the height of your foot to use floating mode. What's nice about the floating mode is it adjusts the height of your foot without releasing the tension. So if you need a little bit more room under your foot for something. If you're pushing fabric or causing a wrinkle, you can raise or lower the foot under the floating mode, and you'll still keep the tension where you need it. Okay, so let's go down here into Overview. And Overview just covers a few of those things we might have seen earlier. The sewing things. Under Quilting, you'll find your accurate stitch regulator, all the information about it, which sections you need to pick when you're picking your stitches, where to find it under the sewing applications under Quilting. Press this key. It walks you through all of it and then talks to you about each of the feet. So all your ASR information is located right here at your fingertips in the app. Let's go back one here. And then at the very bottom are some common settings for presser feet. So it shows you your different feet, talks about what they are. Many times people ask me about these feet, like what do I use this foot for? Well, here's an overcasting M foot. Here, when I touch here, it shows how to attach the foot. And I can just page through here and see what all that's about. Over here, it shows overcasting, and then it'll talk a bit and give you some dialogue about overcasting and how to finish your seams with an overcast stitch. Now at the very beginning, I talked about using the QR code that's on here. And to use your QR code, say you pick a stitch, and we were just talking overcasting, so I'm going to pick this one here, and I'm like, well, I want to use that stitch, but I don't know enough about it. So I'm going to take this back. We'll just be back in the ordinary area. Page back, you want to go under Info, so you get your QR code at the top. Touch your QR code, and then I have my iPad, so it's very large. I'm just going to put it in front of the machine. It's going to catch that QR code, and now it moved to the area. It's going to give me stitch pattern information. So here's the stitch I pulled up on overcasting. I can open another dialog box and find all that information where I was before. So you can either work from the app, or you can find something on the screen of your machine and use your QR code reader in the top corner here to find out more information about that. Let me see, I think I've covered everything. We talked a little bit about, we have machine settings down here, these are your, first the set mode, which is where you would change things to make the machine sew more like what you would like. You can change your buzzer sound, your screen brightness, all of those are under the little, not really a wrench, it's a little washer or whatever, so that little icon. And then you can change your screen brightness. If you want to be in inch or millimeters, you can change that here. It tells you what page they're on, so you can work through all of those. You have sewing settings. Remember, there's dialogues across the bottom. Thread cut after auto lock, presser foot pressure, foot height for pivoting. All of these things that you change in your set area, in your set mode, change the whole machine. You can also change those things right on the screen of your machine just for that stitch as well. So these are for your whole machine. But there's a lot of things in here, especially under machine settings, of your sewing light, your touch screen calibration. Those are all located under your set mode. And there you go. If you have any questions, be sure to check us out up on Facebook. You can always post a question there about our AcuSpark2. Thank you.